Hi, my name is Tristan Poole, and here are my thoughts on the new Batman film. In this video essay, we're going to be talking about what makes this Batman film so unique compared to other Batman films, as well as discussing the plot and the characters, but even going a step further and looking at the color palette and the action sequences. So without further ado, let's get inside the cowl of our hero, the Batman. As soon as the film starts, you're greeted with a beautiful establishing shot of Gotham City. The cinematography was amazing, and in some of these shots, it actually looks like that they were completely ripped out of a comic book. I mean, even just going to the first trailer we had, you see some of these shots cleverly composed in a way that is visually interesting as an audience member. I think between the DP and the cinematographer, they did a great job at delivering a countless number of shots to either help their storytelling, heighten certain situations, and even dramatize certain events that happen in the story. And even as great as the cinematography was, the color palette in this film, just like absolutely amazing with how many different colors they had throughout the whole film. Now for me personally, I think the colors in this film are one of the main reasons why this film stands out. They stand out so much, in fact, that one of their main colors, red for example, is used in all their promotion material to hypen up the movie. There were two big takeaways that I really loved of how they used the color in this film. Number one, how they not only brought contrast visually, but as an overall shot, and two, how they were able to use these colors as a storytelling device. For example, one shot in the film is a scene where we see Gotham in the middle of the day, and it's here where we see a bunch of brown tones, darks, and desaturated colors. Which if you watch the film, this is a great storytelling device because you actually see visually how Bruce Wayne feels about the whole situation and where his mental state is at in the film. However, to contrast from daytime Gotham, we get nighttime Gotham. During nighttime Gotham, although it is really dark, you do get some really saturated orange, reds, and blues. For example, the chase scene with the Penguin, there's a lot of fire that's happening around them. And from that fire, you get this orange bright light that seems to engulf the entire frame. And you can tell this orange pattern throughout the entire movie, either from lights, the sun, or other parts in the movie where there happens to be fire, insinuating that there's tons of chaos happening around them. And every time there's chaos, it's affiliated with the orange light. However, we do get some other great contrast colors like greens and blues from either the nightclub scene or from the prison interrogation scene. That gives off an uneasy tone for our audience member, which, at least to me, it feels like the artist really wanted to have a grungier look to their initial film, which I think they succeeded in that regard because the first thing I compared the colors with was with the colors in Fight Club. Overall, I think the filmmakers did a fantastic job, and overall it looked visually interesting throughout the whole film. Now, moving on from how it looks, let's get into the plot and the characters. So one thing that sets a Batman film apart from the other is the time and the story which it takes place in. Throughout the whole Batman franchise, we've had a certain cookie cutter way of how to tell a Batman story. First, Bruce is a little boy, and then he had parents. All of a sudden, his parents are dead, and then he grows up in vengeance, and then Alfred's there like, "Oh, Master Wayne, how can we help you, sir?" And then he becomes Batman, and then he goes out and saves the day. We all know that story. But what makes this new Batman film so unique is they have their own original story that hasn't had a full live adaptation yet. In this adaptation, we get a young adult Bruce who has already become Batman, but everybody in Gotham City doesn't know who Batman is. Not even the GCPD knows who he is, so they can't really fully trust him throughout the whole film. They just assume that he's like any other vigilante and is somebody you can't trust. So we get a new conflict happening on screen where Batman's still trying to do the right thing, but at the same time, he's still got to earn trust from the GCPD. This honestly reminds me a lot of the Batman Arkham Origins video game, which, by the way, if you love this film and you love video games, then please do me a favor, go check out that video game. You will absolutely love it. One thing I find really interesting that makes this film so unique is the way they approach Bruce Wayne's state of mind throughout the entire film. At this point of Bruce's life, he doesn't really care about being a billionaire and helping out the world of Gotham City other than being Batman full time. He's basically just like, yeah, Alfred, I know I got a whole bunch of money, but I just want to punch bad guys in the face like 50 times and cause them a concussion. That's all I want to do. However, moving back towards the plot, the only negative thing I can really say is you start to feel the runtime around midway through the second act, but don't worry, it does pick up towards the third act, and trust me, you'll be satisfied. So what makes a great Batman film so successful is their originality. I know we've been talking about originality for this entire video, but it's very important. Other than having a cool new suit or a fancy new car, you can clearly distinguish the Batman films based off of more than that. More distinctively, for example, the Dark Knight films with Christian Bale as Batman and Heath Ledger as the Joker, which to a lot of fans is their favorite Batman film, and trust me, I get it. There was tons of action in the film. You had the outstanding performance by Heath Ledger playing the Joker. And of course, we all know the meme of how Christian Bale does this weird Batman voice and kind of started the whole deep Batman voice thing that we all know and love and kind of mimic all the time. Where are they? Sorry, I just kind of had to. However, I think with this new adaptation, we'll have a lot of fans thinking that this is their favorite Batman film as well. I'm happy to report that I actually enjoyed Robert Pattinson's portrayal of Batman in this film. I honestly think it's a breath of fresh air with the way his demeanor is, body language throughout the film, and the emphasis on the mindset of Bruce Wayne and how he has this internal struggle of being Bruce Wayne and Batman. And he honestly brings a whole grungier feel to both Bruce Wayne and Batman, which, let's be honest, I think that was the whole film. Otherwise, why did they have Nirvana playing in it through majority of the film? Which, don't get me wrong, I love Nirvana, just saying, it's grunge. The action. In my opinion, I think this was one of the other selling points for this film. Of course, there's been action in other Batman films that we've seen and know and love. But for some reason, this Batman film has just got that extra spice that you just want. And honestly, with this approach, it makes it refreshing and more satisfying to watch. Now, for one example, which I love in this film and other action films alike, is that they have minimal to no cuts in some of these action sequences. They're making these really big camera movements and they're not cutting at all, and making us, the audience, feel more engaged and paying attention more to what's happening on screen. We gotta talk about the fight choreography itself. I don't know who was the fight choreographer on this. I'll put name and picture here somewhere. But oh my god, between the choreography and the sound design, this is the most brutal Batman fight scenes that I've seen in a long time. Some of the shots literally had my jaw physically drop of how gruesome this was. For me personally, going back to the Batman games that are super popular, it seems like they took a lot of inspiration from those games and put it into their fight scenes as well. But let's not forget, you can't have a good Batman film without good visual effects. Now, usually when I watch a superhero film, one of the main things I hope for are really good and realistic visual effects. Granted, saying that a superhero film is realistic is just comedic, but when I say realistic, I just want the visual effects to be good enough to where if you were to see a superpower or some type of effect in real life, you would actually kind of agree, be like, yeah, it would kind of look like that, I guess. And I am happy to say, there are some great visual effects in this film. Now, unfortunately, you don't really get to see a Batarang in its full true potential. Please make it in the sequel, thank you. You really do get some great visual effects in the action in this film. I also thought it was very interesting to take a more realistic approach with some of Batman's gadgets than you've seen in the comic books or other films. For example, there's a great action scene towards the middle of the film where Batman's on top of the GCPD. Now, at this point in the movie, you're really hoping for, oh, he's gonna pull his cape out, he's gonna do the gliding thing that we all like and see in the comics and video games and movies and stuff. Nah, not really. Instead, he has a realistic squirrel suit where he jumps off and he can glide that way. And I'll be honest, this was super great because realistically, somebody can do that. But let's be honest, we want to see that cape action happening, okay? But that's okay, you know, he's just a rookie at this point. He's just becoming Batman. He doesn't have the budget yet, all right? He still needs like, I don't know, $30 more billion, something like that. Other than that, there was really great scenes where it would heighten the action more, and then other gadgets such as his little taser gauntlet that he uses in the beginning of the film, and of course his signature grappling hook that he uses pretty much throughout the whole film. Also, he uses it in some disgusting ways, which are, I say disgusting, but pretty awesome. So in conclusion, these were my reasons why I find this new Batman film so unique compared to old Batman films. It is truly a unique experience, and even if you're not into superheroes or Batman per se, I still think you should give it a watch. The actors do an amazing job playing their roles. And if you're a fan of action films, don't worry, this movie has plenty of it. And for those of you that hadn't seen the film in theaters and you're like, man, I really want to go check this out, If you subscribe to HBO Max, you can actually go check it out on April 18th. So definitely go check it out. I highly recommend it. Thanks for watching.